banking has gone through a lot of transformation. If you go back into time, you would remember demonetization. It was like war on the monetary front. And as leaders, as the team members managing the branches at the local level, we are under a tremendous amount of pressure with huge cash flows and transactions coming in from all sorts of customers.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another exciting episode of FaceTime with Leaders, presented by Directors Institute, World Council of Directors. I'm Sunny Pancholi, and today we are thrilled to have a leader whose career is nothing short of inspiring. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Devendra Chainani, ex-Vice President and current Account Channel Head at HDFC Bank. With over 25 years of experience in the banking sector, Mr. Devendra has been a driving force in transforming business strategies, boosting revenue, and managing over 3,200 crore in CASA base while leading a flagship branch of HDFC Bank. From leading sales channels across the country to pioneering business development strategies, Mr. Devendra has built an incredible legacy. Currently, as the founder of Just Finance, he is guiding the younger generation towards the discipline of investment and investing and properly helping senior members plan properly for their retirement. Today, we will dive deep into his journey, challenges, and the strategies he has used to excel in this ever evolving industry. Thank you for joining us today, Mr. Devendra Chainani. We can't wait to hear about your career, insights, and the valuable lessons you have learned along the way. Welcome to FaceTime with Leaders.
Thank you, Sunny. It's quite energetic that you come across with, and you really make me feel that yes, I have done some good amount of work during my past 25 years of my career. With 20 years being prominently only into banking or the sector, where I come from an engineering background. So that's where my roots start from. And yes, being a part of retail branch banking for 18 years, have seen the most challenging moments that a bank would have ever faced. The industry as such has gone through a lot of transformation. If you see with the government stepping in, a lot of digital transformation has happened. Today, India is among the leading digital platform users in the banking or any other sector. The number of transactions that we have on the digital platform in terms of UPI transaction is the largest in the world. So that's where we come from. So it's great interacting with you, Sunny. And I'm sure that this would be a very engaging session that we'll have.
Absolutely. Looking forward to an insightful conversation, sir. So, to kick things off, with over 25 years in the banking industry, I'm sure your journey has been full of incredible experiences. But before we dive into the numbers and strategies, let's take a step back and hear a bit about your story. So, was there a defining moment or a personal experience early in your career that truly set you on the path to becoming the leader you are today? I would love to hear how those early experiences shaped your approach to leadership and success.
Well, yeah, you questioned me on the right front. I must say, I really like this question because it it really gets to the heart of a person who's a leader. Most of the leaders have certain defining moments or a journey that they go through that get them into the path of becoming a leader. And I did have my own moment where, in the earlier part of my career, where I was entrusted with a very critical task from a factory. Like I mentioned, I was a chemical engineer at one point of time. In my earlier days, we had a situation at the factory, and my leaders, the organization leaders, entrusted me with certain roles, certain deliverables, and one of them being a very critical one. Uh, the way they supported me, the way they manifested the entire operations, and the transaction was completed in a seamless manner, saving the organization repute and monetary damages, is what pushed me towards being a leader. As a banker, I could have moved into individual role, but I took up the leadership role with that as a background. Where, if you typically see, a leadership role is not about having a title; it's about taking up ownership, taking up your responsibility. The second part of it is, if you look at a person, whom would you follow? A leader who just takes a title, or a leader who leads by example. So we, as a leader, we need to learn that we have to lead by example, where we are undaunted, we take the right decisions. Well, decisions can go wrong, but not taking a decision, not being able to accept and correct it, is what is more riskier than taking a decision. So a leadership role is all about ownership of responsibility, delivery with a hands-on experience on the floor, and taking up anything that comes across and rectifying it rather than just trying to put it under the carpet.
Mr. Devendra, it's incredible how early experiences can shape a leader's path. And hearing your story really highlights the resilience and vision that have clearly been key to your success. So, continuing our conversation, you have been instrumental in growing the current account channel at HDFC Bank, which I'm sure hasn't been without its challenges, of course.
Correct.
So, what were some of the toughest moments you faced while building this part of the business, and how did you navigate through them?
So, like I mentioned, Sunny, that banking has gone through a lot of transformation. If you go back into time, you would remember demonetization. It was like war on the monetary front. And as leaders, as the team members managing the branches at the local level, we are under a tremendous amount of pressure with huge cash flows and transactions coming in from all sorts of customers. We had certain local political pressures coming in. We had peer pressures coming in. We had pressures coming on customers who knew the senior management level, where the senior management were pretty resilient that follow the rule book. Every day the rules were changing basis the recommendations coming from the RBI. So that's what we saw, and we had to manage our integrity level. So these are situations when you have to be on the floor with your people, not in your AC cabin, and guiding people from the as a remote control guidance, right? When we saw the COVID attack on our economy, on the way the human people are suffering, the humans are suffering, it was huge. Managing huge branches, managing huge transactional operations with 10% to 20% of the workforce was challenging. But these are the times that have taught us as bankers as to what it goes behind being a banker. Now, when I talk about the latest engagement that I had as a channel head for the current account product teams are typically the ones which define the role of a particular product, the way it is supposed to be engaged into, how do you get into it, how do you grow that particular wallet size of the bank. But these are teams which are lean and mean in size, very lean. You don't have a big workforce that is managing like every, say, 100 people has one person to manage that role. No, you manage them in thousands. And the amount of support you give to them in terms of the MIS. Well, how do we make it? How do we make it go through? Thanks to the IT, we've got a lot of AI infrastructure in place. We've got a lot of MISs coming in that come in from the behavioral aspects, the behavioral patterns of customers, basis which the interactions build up, basis which the MISs build up. It defines the next level expectation or a movement of a customer. If you anticipate that and if you move in the right direction, that is where you can build up the boat in the most odd times. Like they say, sailing a boat against the wind is foolish. Making use of the wind to sail the boat in the right direction is what is required. And that's how we as a banker and the product team, we would work around.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it's clear that your leadership has played a key role in HDFC Bank's success in this space. Okay, so moving ahead, Mr. Devendra, you have been consistently recognized for driving significant growth in profits and revenues throughout your career. In
Right.
such a competitive banking landscape, I'm really curious to know what were some of the strategies you employed to create a more market responsive organization? And how did you ensure that your team and approach really stood out, driving such impressive results?
So, if we talk about making bank a more market responsive organization, it requires a lot of agility, customer centricity, and having a strong focus on the customer requirement and innovation. So, we like every next update that comes in your iPhone or on Android phone that enhances the screen presence, the way it functions, the way the smart applications keep coming up. Similarly, you need a lot of innovation into banking. There was a time when a person would go to the bank, apply for a personal loan. He would take his salary slips. Today, we have a time where HDFC Bank was the pioneer in doing a 10-second personal loan. So if you look at a 10-second personal loan, you have an offer, you accept it. How is the offer come in? basis AI, basis your patterns, basis your credit history. The bank has found out that yes, your credit worthiness is there for an X of an amount. It gives you that particular amount sanctioned, pre-sanctioned. You just accept the terms and condition, press a OK. By the time you come and see your account, the money is already there in your account. And that is where innovation comes in. Agility in terms of making a lot of quick move, in terms of having the right data-driven decisions, giving the customer offers which the customer will require. So if I know that Sunny goes for a vacation in May with his family, if I give him option of personal loan during that particular time period, or if I have anticipated that Sunny is going to a showroom to buy cars or look at cars, if I give him auto loan option, so this is where AI function in giving me the right input. If I see him paying a home loan, how do I know what's happening? I know that he has a home loan, correct? I can give him an offer that is more to his requirement. So if it's a pinpointed offer given to a customer basis his requirement is exactly where he will tend to benefit. So agility, the right product, the right movement, and a AI-driven, data-driven approach is what gives you the right high responsive approach.
Impressive, truly impressive, Mr. Devendra. Your leadership truly shines through in your approach to adapting and responding to market needs.
It has to be in those lines. It has to completely undo.
Absolutely, absolutely. The financial sector has evolved so much in recent years, Mr. Devendra, especially with the rise of digital banking and fintech innovations. And it's really exciting to see how rapidly things are changing. And I'm sure you have been at the forefront of many of these shifts. So, looking ahead, how do you see the future of banking unfolding, particularly when it comes to customer engagement and service delivery? And what changes do you think will truly transform the way we interact with banks in the coming years?
So the future of banking is actually rapidly evolving around customer experience. It's all about customer experience and nothing else. I will go to a place where I am welcome. I will not go to a place where I'm not welcome. I'll use an app or a system which I'm comfortable. Like you used to have those books for dummies where you don't have to know that particular subject, but you know how to use it. This has to be that simple. So if it's a customer-centric approach, the high level of engagement is there, and the transformation in the right place, things will move. It has to be hyper personalized. It cannot be only personalized. Like we discussed on examples where an auto loan would be required, or home loan is required, or personal loan is required. So it is hyper personalization. It's not about just personalizing it. So identification, personalization, complete customer-centric approach is the only approach that's going to take the banking system forward. And it's going to be totally AI-driven, and there's not going to be short of that.
Okay. Mr. Devendra, can I say the balance between digital innovation and customer-centric service is definitely going to be the key moving forward?
Yes, you can.
Great, great. You have achieved so much in your career, Mr. Devendra, and it's clear that your leadership has had a lasting impact. Looking ahead, what are some of your aspirations for the future, both personally and in terms of your journey in the boardroom? And how do you see your role evolving in the years to come? And what kind of legacy do you hope to leave in the industry?
Well, you have in fact asked me quite a thought-provoking question, I must say. I mean, that it really makes you reflect on a bigger picture. It's not only about having done your job, got your appraisals, taken a promotion, moved ahead in life. It's about making a change. And as a personal aspiration, if I look at it, is continued learning. Now, we as leaders should never forget that the world changed on a very quick pace. You should never stop learning. Learning is the continued factor. Like they say that change is the only factor that stays constant. The rest, everything changes, right? So change is a constant factor. Similarly, learning, a continued learning is something that has to be there. Mentoring the next level leaders, mentoring the next generation of leaders is what I look at. Now, with business landscape, it is changing rapidly with AI, with ESG, and stakeholder capitalism. Now, if you see what is a stakeholder, who is a stakeholder? A customer is a stakeholder. Your investor is a stakeholder. You have to have a situation where everyone's happy. They all are making their buck. If the customer is not making profits out of dealing with you, he'll stop dealing with you. If your investor is not making money out of investment in your organization, he may want to look at different avenues. So it has to be well balanced. And if you do not have the right social governance in place, if you do not have a proper management in place, it's going to be very difficult. So as a personal aspiration, I would want to have a continued learning. I would like to have more of generating the next level leaders in the times to come, as well as having all these values to be taken to the boardroom. It cannot be only in my mindset. Wherever I work across, it has to be in actual applications, right? So you have to champion agile and ethical governance. You got to shape the future of ESG and sustainability. You have to be a driving force in digital and AI usage. You have to mentor the future leaders. This is what I look at from my own goals in the times to come, in my personal aspirations. As a legacy, if you talk about, I just don't want to be known as a business person, a person successful only in business. Like I just mentioned about this, I would like to be known as a person who not only was successful in business, he was able to get that change and create the next level of a person coming in place.
So Devendra, it's inspiring to hear how you're thinking about the future. So, since we were talking about ESG and corporate governance, and as they are becoming central to business strategies globally, how do you think these principles are shaping the future of the banking industry and its customers' relations?
The principle of ESG as environmental, social, and governance and corporate governance are significantly shaping the future of the banking industry by driving more sustainable, transparent, and responsible behavior of individuals in the boardroom and on the floor. So, if you talk about environmental responsibility, green finance is what you look at, climate risk management, we look at regulatory pressures, where we do not succumb to regulatory pressures, but we have the right regulatory modules in place, that is regulating our environmental responsibility properly. Social responsibility, we talk about financial inclusion, we talk about diversity and equity and inclusion, we talk about ethical lending. We do not talk about a situation where we lend in an unethical manner. We should be very cautious when it comes to finance and banking because that is a core, and banking is nothing but ethics. It's all about your ethics. How many ever jargons you will bring into it, how many ever changes you bring into it. If your ethics are not in place, everything goes for the washout. So that has to be very clear. If you look at governance as a factor, uh, you need to have a lot of stronger compliances. You have to have a board accountable for it. You cannot have individuals only accountable. The entire board will take accountable. I said that a leader has to be responsible. He has to learn to take the responsibility. The boardroom has to take the responsibility of the governance, of the social responsibility for the organization. It has to make a competitive difference between organization A and organization B. That is where it's going to shape the future.
Rightly said, Mr. Devendra. And it's amazing to hear how ESG principles are being woven into the fabric of banking industry. All right. So, moving ahead, you have recently joined Directors Institute, which is known for fostering leadership and growth among senior executives. And as someone with such a vast experience, what motivated you to become a part of this institute? And what are you hoping to learn and gain from this experience? And how do you see it shaping your future as a leader?
So I must say that social media again, while going through social media, and I came across a short video of Havel, and that is what prompted me to attend one of the sessions that the Directors Institute was conducting. It's quite interesting. It was quite engaging, and it brought me to think about all these things that we just discussed about on a note that probably at that point of time it was more on the leadership front. I was not thinking about ESG, or I was not talking about more of governance, more of the boardroom implications and the responsible approach that it needs to bring in about. But this, I would say that whether I am a member or a mentor or a leader at the Directors Institute, it is offering me a lot of initiatives, if you see, right, and a lot of motivation that comes into it. One, if I look at it, it is a commitment to a strong corporate governance, A strong corporate governance is what is mandatory. It is most required, is the next need of the hour. If you look at continuous learning and thoughtful leadership, yes, I've attended a lot of sessions of thoughtful leaders, and it opens your eyes. Yeah, it teaches you how to judge a situation, judge the boat that you're getting into, when to raise your hand and say, "Hey, this is something not acceptable." Expanding your sphere of influence and networking, very critical. I would say that's very critical. This is what I'm learning from the Directors Institute. Preparing for a future leadership. The boardroom requires knowing the certain ethics and certain do's and don'ts, which I'm learning from the Directors Institute. And how do I bring my experience to the table and help the next generation build on it, is what I'm looking forward from there.
Great to hear how you are embracing new learning opportunities, Mr. Chainani. That's it for today's episode, and what an incredible conversation it's been. Mr. Devendra, thank you so much for taking the time to join us and sharing such valuable insights from your remarkable journey. Your thoughts on leadership, innovation, and the evolving landscape of banking have truly been inspiring. And it's clear that your commitment to both personal growth and driving meaningful change in the industry is something we can all learn from. So, thank you so much for joining in and sharing your valuable time, insights, and knowledge with us today.
Thank you, Sunny. It was really engaging, and like I said, that I must say that these minutes that we've shared together, it was quite engaging.
And to our audience, we hope you enjoyed this episode as much as we did. It's always a privilege to bring you closer to the minds of the leaders who are shaping the future of business. If you found this conversation inspiring, don't forget to subscribe to our podcast, share it with your network, and leave us with a review. Make sure to stay tuned for upcoming episodes filled with more insights from the trailblazers and visionaries who are making waves across industries. Until next time, keep learning, stay curious, and take charge of your journey. Thank you so much, and have a nice time.